Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. You've probably clicked on this video because you've seen this bad boy on TikTok. The hatchet / coldsteel kobun tactical holster. Now the axe sheath is something that's already been posted online and you can buy the 3D files to print your own. This is nothing new. This is the feature that everybody's come here to see. This takes two of the coldsteel kobun tactical Tantos, but I'm pretty sure the drop point works exactly the same. This sheath is 3D printed using PLA plastic, has a couple of brass thread inserts and some M3 screws. That's it. It's a super basic and simple project. Now if you're wanting one of these tactical holster pieces but you do not have a 3D printer, there is a really simple solution, and that is that you can just make your own without a 3D printer. These two pieces here, these are the crucial mounting points. This is the splitting plate that just makes it a bit easier to rig up to a holster, but you can make your own. You don't have to use this. This does come with the digital files. And the only other part that's important are two more knives. Don't ask why I have four of these, it's none of your business. So to get these important parts, you can do that by using PCBWay.com. Now they are not a sponsor of this video, but you've possibly seen them sponsor a lot of other channels. One day I might be so lucky. Simply take the digital files for these two parts, drop them into their website, specify that you want it printed out of PLA, you want it with 40% infill, it doesn't really matter. Choose the color that you want, how many of them you want printed, and I think that was about it. For these two parts, I think it was going to cost me $14 New Zealand, which I think is about 9 or 10 bucks American. Piece of cake. As for the knives, these are both Chinese knockoffs of the coldsteel kobun. On my back I have got one of the genuine coldsteel knives and one of the Chinese ones. The only other thing you'll need is about a dozen M3 screws and a dozen thread inserts, and these are just a little threaded piece of plastic with a sharp outer edge that you melt into the 3D printed part using a soldering iron, or even a lighter will do it. That may seem like a lot, but it is a really simple process that you can make your own. And I promise you that's much more satisfying to be able to make this piece of kit than to just buy it. You can do it. It's not difficult. You just need to give it a go. So here I'll show you through the steps on how you can do it as well. If you go to PCBWay.com, you can then upload the digital files that you've purchased through one of my links, and all you need to do is just select a couple of options, the quantity that you're wanting, the material it's made out of, the color, and I think that's really it. That's all the key steps. After this, they'll send those parts out to you. Straight from them, they're ready for you to assemble. Now this little gold coloured piece is the M3 threaded brass insert. These are very important for making sure that you can screw into 3D printed parts without stripping the plastic. Now normally you'd fix these into the part by pushing them in with a soldering iron, but you can also do this using a M3 bolt to hold it in place and just gently heat it up with a lighter for a couple of seconds. Once you think you've got it heated up enough, you just gently pull it through the plastic until it's flush with the surface. Once it's there, you need to hold it for a couple of seconds because the residual heat can cause it to just melt anywhere else that it might want to wander off to. This is what the part should look like once you've done all of the threaded inserts for the knife mount. This is so that you can mount both the halves of the plate together, as well as mount the knives to the fixing plate. These belts simply lock into position using an 8mm hole that's punched into the leather. Once you've done that, locate the plate on the top and screw it in. It's that simple. The belts that I used were just cheap leather belts that you can purchase from a New Zealand Kmart, which is really probably the equivalent to Walmart in the US. It's just a cheap belt that does the job. Mine are all a fixed size, but there's nothing stopping you from fitting it with the buckles so that you can make the entire rig adjustable. And when it comes to fixing the blades in place, if you can't get your hands on the genuine coldsteel kobun knives, the Chinese ones will fit just as nicely. However, I would recommend that you fix them in place loosely with all four of the mounting screws before giving them one final tightening, as there is a slight alignment difference between the Chinese knockoff and the original knife. That wraps that up. Hopefully the simplicity of this project gives you a little bit of motivation to give it a go. It really is such an easy build. all of the parts all the parts that you'll need for this build are in the description. As well as that, they'll be in a readme file attached to the files when you purchase them. In addition to that, there's also a link to my private Discord. This Discord is only for members who have purchased my products. It's as simple as that. So it's a closed group for supporters. You guys can see what I'm working on next. You can have input into what I'm working on next and get a sneak preview of what's coming up in the future. If you guys like the content that I'm creating and you'd like to support me a little bit more, you can head over to my Patreon, and there's multiple levels of tiers in there that you can use to support me with my endeavors. Go with that word. And for those of you who are interested in 3D printing these parts to sell, you can sell the physical physical prints of this. Just head over to my Patreon, purchase the licensing tier, and you guys can sell them to your heart's desire. I hope this inspires some of you to get building. And if there's anything else you would like to see, please feel free to leave a comment in the description. Till next time.